Hi friends, thank you so much for stopping by for this video. My name is Dana. This is the Karen Cares channel. I originally started this as an outlet for my frustration when distance education took over the school system here in Philadelphia, but the channel has grown to include popular topics, conspiracy theories, and I am currently reading a book called Profiles in Corruption. I am currently on the chapter about Kamala Harris in honor of Women's History Month in the month of March. Hopefully you are seeing this live, but if not, I hope you will give it a thumbs up to help feed the algorithm monster. Today I'm going to address my progressive friends. Being in the birth community, I have more progressive friends than I have conservative. And at this point, many of my progressive friends have unfriended me on Facebook because they really cannot tolerate someone with a different opinion, because their tolerance only extends as far as things like gender identity and race and nationality, and not to something as radical as, different ideas. So my progressive friends, listen. Can we please stop making excuses for this man? Joe Biden is clearly in the, I think he's beyond the early stages at this point and has moved into a stage of dementia where he really should be getting some kind of around-the-clock care, perhaps being moved into a nursing home. I am sure that Kamala Harris will be used, Nancy Pelosi will be using the 25th Amendment any day now to make sure that we have our first female president in this great United States, probably the last president we will ever have, because I am sure she will run it right into the ground. We have to stop making excuses for Joe Biden. We all know that Kamala Harris is coming, and at this point, we're surprised he hasn't fallen down a flight of steps or caught the COVID or had some other kind of strange incident that would require Kamala to take over. What I'm curious about today is, why do you think progressives are suddenly so silent? Truth be told, we all know it's their hypocrisy. They can't stand to actually admit that maybe they were wrong about something. They seem unable to access that part of themselves that reviews new information and then makes new assessments based on said information. I don't know why. Most of the progressive women that I know are extremely well educated. One would think that would make them open-minded, but we have to remember that there is a Marxist philosophy that is pervasive in higher education, and particularly in the field of education and social sciences. Those are the fields that shape the world, because these mostly ladies are going in and coming out as teachers and are coming out as ultra leftist progressive monsters, the kind that just aren't happy with like a little bit of progress. It has to be all or nothing. It has to be hormone blockers and chopping a kid's dick off, or you're transphobic. There's just no middle ground with these people. They go into fields such as education, and then they push these myths that Black Lives Matter has programmed the idiots with. Useful idiots, of course. Let's stop making excuses, shall we? The other thing I wanted to touch on today, because I didn't have enough of a time to talk about it the other day, is how awesome my husband is. He and I are actually coming up on 12 years of marriage this next month. And he said 12. I said, no, 11. He said, no, honey, it's really 12. And then I thought about it, and then I did math, and he is right. My husband and I met about, our first date was January 4th, and we were married 4 months later. So we did not date for a very long time before getting married and having kids. It was as if when we first met that we just knew. I certainly had that feeling very, very early on. and I've talked to him about it a lot. My mom used to say to me after every like first date or by second or third date, if I was going out with a guy on some kind of a regular, any regularity, she would say, "Do you think he's the one?" And I'd say, I don't know. I mean, he's nice. We're getting to know one another and we'll see how it goes. And just kind of gave like a generic answer. And that was really how I felt, like that those feelings would develop, that, I would meet someone, we'd spend a lot of time together, and then we would, he'd ask me to marry him, and it would be very like romantic and very long planned out. And that's just not the way it goes for people sometimes. And that's okay too. But after Pete and I had gone out just once, it was the next day, and I was getting my coat on, I think, to leave and go to work or go, I don't know, somewhere. I was single. I didn't have kids. I mean, I could have been going literally anywhere I wanted, anytime I wanted, for as long as I friggin' wanted. Can you imagine how much fun that would be? Oh, God. I mean, that's why, like, retired people are so dang happy. Anyway, I'm putting my coat on to go to work or out to whatever single women do the next day. And my mom is on the couch. "Now, how did your date go?" And blah, blah, blah. And I tell her, we talk about it. "Oh, he's handsome. He's nice and tall." Now, I'm 5'11". So if I put on even a pair of sneakers, I stand at 6 feet tall. Never mind if I want to wear a pair of heels. So one of the difficult things for me with dating is, like, I would walk into any old place where you typically go and perhaps be on the prowl for single men. And it's almost like I would have to scan the horizon and then look for the men that whose heads stuck out a little bit from the crowd, because I'd have to find the taller guys and then narrow it down from there. First of all, there are not that many men that stand tall enough for me to wear heels. My husband is like 6'5". That's so sexy. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a tall woman. Like, I can't. What is it? There is that thing now, isn't there? Height privilege. I guess all the men that I eliminated when I was scanning the horizon back there, like, they're all like a victim of my height privilege, or are they a victim of like his height? Like, am I like a heightist because I won't date? Am I a heightist because I won't date a short man? I did once, and he was really, really sweet. But it felt like I just couldn't. It was just little. I don't want to have to envelope you. I want you to be big and just, I can, you know what I mean? And my husband was like that. So anyway, I'm putting on my jacket. My mom says, "How was your date?" And she says, "So do you think he's the one?" I say, "Yeah, I think so." And her head whipped around on the couch because she wasn't expecting that answer. And her head whipped around. And I said, "Yeah, yeah, maybe." And she was just kind of speechless. And I told my husband that story. Things were definitely different from the instant that I met him and laid eyes on him. It was literally, I know this sounds so cliche. It wasn't butterflies in my stomach. It was like an electric jolt. And so, like, I looked, okay, so I mean, we've all like been interested in people the opposite. Well, we've all been interested in people romantically or sexually. So, sometimes like you might see somebody across the room and you definitely have that feeling, like you see them and you connect and there's an attraction there, like within those first seconds of laying eyes on one another. There's really no question of whether there's an attraction there. So, like, I think we've all had those experiences. And so that's not necessarily love at first sight, but this was a feeling that was like physically, like it like shook my body. I don't know how to explain it. It sounds so corny. It was like an electric jolt. So much so that the girl I was sitting with was like, "What just happened? What just happened to you?" And she looked back and she saw him. She said, "Oh, okay, I know what you're doing. I know what you saw." And, I was really grateful that he knew a girl that I had become very, very good friends with, who later was the bridesmaid in our wedding, those 4 long months later. And so we've been married now for 12 years. We have 3 children. We have had a significant amount of ups and downs. About 5 years ago in particular, we went through a really difficult time. And let's say this, I went through a really difficult time. In addition to dealing with really, really severe mental illness, I was being taken on and off and up and down different dosages of antidepressant medication. And I don't think it was really being monitored correctly, which is, a whole nother thing. It was a really difficult time. And that kind of mania can test the marriage in a lot of ways. So my husband is a wonderful, amazing, kind, forgiving, loving, loyal provider and husband. And he's far from perfect. I'm certainly not making it all out to be butterflies and balloons over here. It's certainly not. But on the whole, he's one of the few good men left, I think, in society. What I'm noticing is that there are a lot less men willing to stand up, willing to work hard, willing to provide, willing to take on so much, willing to support through so much. And I think that's something that we're missing. I had 3 girls, and I really wonder, are there even going to be 3 good men left? Will there be after all this? Because not my phone, I'm not answering it. It's the RNC. Yeah, I don't care. RNC. I ain't got no money. And y'all didn't do nothing. Bunch of punks. The Republican Party is a bunch of punks. They really are. And Trump is too. He sold us out. Let's be serious about this, okay? He came into politics knowing what a shithole swamp fest it was. And he made all these grand promises about draining the swamp, draining the swamp, draining the swamp. Then he goes and works in the same old guys. And then he's listening to Dr. Fauci. And that screwed us. These lockdowns, they screwed us. They sent our country into what the media will not acknowledge is even a recession, probably a depression once we get a few years from now and we have some hindsight to look at. Get me started on the RNC. Anyway, my husband also leaves his dirty fucking socks wherever he feels like it. So there you go. There's one thing that's not perfect. It is nice to be able to work part-time at this point. It allows me to really get involved with clients as much or as little as they need me to, and to be able to answer questions and phone calls promptly. Also, and to be able to stay home and take care of the kids throughout the day with distance learning, to make sure that they're in different classes on time and try to keep up with that schedule. And, it has been a bit of a struggle. And these last couple of months have been challenging, but I've been really blessed to be here. I'm still here. We are here with my dad at my dad's house. He should be coming home in the next day or 2. He was in Kentucky working on my brother's property down there because he's moving in the next year or so. I wish I could move to Kentucky. I really do. What is your ideal location to live? Are you there now? It's really hard. Back to the whole single thing. When I was single, or it was just he and I and the dog, it would be easy to pick up and move. But with 3 kids, we need the assurance of a job and health benefits. And we need to know what the schools are like and what the college opportunities in the area are like. And these are all things that we'd have to take into serious consideration. And right now, we just don't see anything that's... there are no jobs secure enough that make it worth moving halfway across the country. So we are going to probably stay in Philadelphia and try to make it better as long as we're here to add our little bit of positive influence to the community, to our local community and our greater community. I am looking forward to the warmer weather, to outside activities, to the opportunity to volunteer, to get involved, to be a part of. Hopefully, if we ever get back home, we will be able to make a difference in that neighborhood. I'm looking outside and just hope that you guys are seeing the same beautiful blue sky that I am right now. If not, I'm sure it's there behind the clouds. Don't give up, guys. I'm going to go hop on an electric scooter and scoot around like I am a young child. I wish I could live stream that, but I can't because I don't have enough subscribers. Okay, so if you could like and subscribe, that would be great. It would feed the algorithm monster. I don't know how many subscribers I have to get before I can live stream from my phone, but it's one of those little razor scooters that you like plug in. So it's really fun, and it gets some speed. You know, it's really like you can tell it's like chugging when it's trying to get up a hill. Because I'm not a kid. I mean, I'm thin enough, I think, for myself. Anyway, 6 feet tall and pretty thin, but I'm big boned. Big boned. Tall people got longer bones. They're dense. They weigh a lot. So it's chugging to get up that hill. But man, when you're like scooting around the parking lot, it's just a whole lot of fun. So I'm going to bounce out and go do that. Hang in there, guys. Comment, please interact. That would just be really helpful to me. I really appreciate your guys' time and I hope that you have the greatest day possible. Bye.